Welcome back to Super Sentai Reviews. In this episode, we're going to review one movie, not a series like I did in the previous two. This one is basically the crossover between the two I reviewed in the first two episodes. It's Gingaman versus Megaranger. This team has a bit unusual from the other teams they've had. Usually, a villain or a type of monster from the previous Sentai would team up with the main villain of this particular Sentai. This one is uniquely different in that not only from the perspective of Megaranger, it takes place a year after their show, but also it takes place after Gingaman. The Gingaman takes place, I would say, a few months have passed by since the end of the finale. That's what I can tell. And that the Star Beasts are off in space. They're off doing something. Moog detects some evil, like the pirate Boros. He detects something similar to the Barbin. Yeah, something similar to them coming to Earth, and it's a guy called Captain Gregory, which I'll reveal who he is in a minute. Basically, you have the Gingaman in the city, and Captain Gregory. They're on a random rooftop someplace. It's something the Japanese do a lot of the time. It's something to do. I don't know. They actually fight them. Basically, they're barely holding their own, and then all of a sudden, Kenta from Megaranger shows up completely out of nowhere, and helps them and gets them away. Introduces himself, and he basically calls upon his other Megarangers to figure out. Now during the battle, the red. Gingaman, who his name is, let's see, what is his name? He's the main leader of the Gingaman. His name is Roma. His Ginga brace was basically his morpher was stolen by Captain Gregory. The purpose? Resurrect Captain Zehab and this entire crew. That's pretty much his plan, and pretty much take over space. That's really his plan, just to resurrect all the villains the Gingaman killed off during their show. Yep. And of course Kenta calls upon his other Mega Rangers, though for some reason just the original 5 show up. The Mega Silva for some reason is completely absent. I've heard this is the reason why they couldn't bring back the Silver Ranger for the Path to Power and Power to Bank loosely 2-parter. This one, I do not know why he couldn't come back. Maybe, and this is my theory, maybe the actor has scheduling conflict. That's probably the reason why they couldn't include him in this film. And probably also because they probably had only this thing where they would only bring in at least just the original 5. Don't bring in the 6th one at all. Yeah, it's something that Sentai is known for doing. But yeah. So they call upon him, they go to this island, and basically now Captain Gregory's teamed up with an android from the previous Sentai. He teams up with an android who is related to the female android of the let's see. He teams up with Helzima, the second daughter of Dr. how do you pronounce his name? Dr. Heller. Yeah. His second android daughter. Okay, at least they have a connection there. It's a pretty decent thing for what it does. And okay, he's bringing them back, and the first person in this giant coffin comes out of nowhere, and this is how he brings back first he brings back the generals, then he brings back the captain. And of course, off screen, he brings back their monsters as well. And the first person to step out of this coffin is Lenda, the female henchwoman. She's the first person to step out of the coffin. I'm like, okay, that's not a bad idea. She was one of the last. She was technically the last of the 4 lieutenants. She was one of the last ones killed off. So. Okay, she's second to last one of them to get killed off, so it's okay for her to be the first one to get brought back. And the last one, Captain Zehab comes back. Basically, this is the first time now. Mostly, from what I can tell, Captain Gregory's mostly successful what he wants to do. Just bring back everybody that was killed off during Gingaman, Heck, even brought back the monsters, which that was really neat. Well, they brought back most of them, but not all of them. Yeah, but I'll get to that. And then get to the island, and it's like, okay, here's Captain Zehab. He's resurrected, and he brought back his 4 generals, his lieutenant, his top lieutenant, Sheila, his female swordswoman. Now, prior to him showing up at the island, basically, Helena has sort of turned against Captain Gregory and says the spaceways belong to the Najin. And then she gets stabbed in the back by Sheila and says, no, the spaceways belongs to the pirates. Yeah. And she's like crumbling. She's like smoking. I mean, her body is smoking. I mean, I get the fact that both women are smoking hot, but now from what I can tell, this second daughter, she looks like she's the same actress who played the female henchwoman from Megaranger. Okay, fine. And the Megaranger and the Gingaman gets there. Of course, they suit up and they team up, and just before they're fighting the 4 generals, it's like, haha, here's Captain Gregory, just bring back most of the monsters. They come completely out of nowhere, and like everybody's shocked. Like all their heart, like the Gingaman is like, oh no, all of our hard work killing all these monsters, and now they're all back. So the Megaranger and the Gingaman just plow right through all these monsters so quickly. And as for resurrecting Captain Zehab, and of course, Captain Gregory has his own version of the monster they wanted to bring back in the show. The creature they wanted to bring back, if I can find it here, they wanted to bring back Dynatenix. That's who they wanted. It's basically in their version of it. It's Galdamax. That's what he had sort of brought the creature to Earth, sort of destroyed the planet. And what Cat Gregory's plan basically is resurrect these pirates, team up with them, and conquer the spaceways. That's pretty much his plan, which is pretty brilliant. It's a really neat plan. My only disappointment is that the Gingaman defeat Captain Zehab and his soldiers very easily, despite the fact they had a tough time defeating them during their actual show. Yeah. I mean, here's the Gingaman, all suited up, even with their lights of Ginga, and they just plow right through the main villains. And then when Captain Gregory, when he goes up to giant size, to fight the Gingaman and Megaranger alongside his own monster. So what do? The Gingaman basically, and of course the barrier that now he had put a barrier around the Earth to prevent the Starbase from coming back to the planet, and they kept bouncing off, and then finally they brought the barrier down, thanks to the organization that helped the Mega Rangers during their own show. So they bring it down. So the Mega Rangers summon their Astro Mega, and of course the Gingaman form their own Megas, or Ginga O, and they team up and they fight Captain Gregory and his monster. It's a really neat battle, and it's probably the biggest highlight of the episode. Not only seeing the two teams suiting up for the first time together, and seeing them working side by side, battling all these monsters. I mean, it's not like, well, yeah, I'll get to my disappointing thing. And of course, they defeat the monsters and they celebrate, and it's a happy ending for them. Now, my only problem with this one is that the Gingaman pretty much having Captain Zehab and his 5 lieutenants defeated so easily in this one. I mean, yeah, I get the fact that these people were just brought back, but I'm like, really? You plow through them even though you had trouble battling these guys with the whole entire Sentai? So you couldn't defeat Captain Zehab using the lights of Ginga. So you defeat them in this one very easily. That's my only disappointing factor, is that the 5 characters which were resurrected for this one, which I thought was really neat. This is the only one I've ever seen this for. One of 2 I've actually seen where the main villain comes back after being killed by the main Sentai team. And they brought back, and they're defeated so easily. Now the monsters, I get the fact that they were defeated. Yeah, they were just quick. It's not like quick sections. Basically, you have the monsters having fierce battle. That's one of the best highlights of this film, is seeing the 2 teams fighting the monsters they had previously fought in the Gingaman show, and then going to the mechs and fighting Captain Gregory and his monster. That's the best highlights of the episode, and I love the character interaction between the two of them. My only disappointing thing, aside from the main villains from the Gingaman getting just plowed right through, no problem, is no Mega Silver. So you can't get... for some reason, at this point, they couldn't have 6 Sentai members in one movie. Last 6, 12. So they have to sell with 11. And I do like the fact that Black Bull Knight's in here as well. Now, in Power Rangers, it's slightly different. The biggest difference is, instead of having a character from their show, it's slightly different. Of course, this one takes place after the one. Even though the movie even though it was adapted to Path to Power and Power to Pink, the main villain of that one was the Psycho Rangers, which I thought was a really neat idea. The reason why that I think in the show, the reason why they brought him back, because they're popular villains. In the Sentai, after they returned data cards, they never returned at all. They only brought it back because they're popular. That's the only reason why I can think so they did that. This one, I think the Captain Gregor character is a really cool villain, and of the Sentai villains, of the Sentai I've fully watched so far, he's probably one of the best ones, and he's actually one of the very few who's actually original for these films. So for the film itself, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. My only disappointing thing, the major disappointment, is the fact you have the main regular things, main regular villains who are seen throughout most of them, not just the monsters that pop up one episode or two, of them being defeated so easily by the Sentai they were trying to kill throughout their whole entire Sentai. But it's still a good movie overall. I've seen a couple. The first time I was kind of disappointed with it because I had not finished watching either Sentai, but since I've watched both Sentai now and watching the film, that's one thing you got to do for these films. When you watch these crossover films, you got to watch both of them. Now, most of these Super Sentai films tend to take place, like, whoever the first name is, they tend to take place during the actual Sentai show itself. This one took place afterwards, which made sense, but one thing you got to do before you watch this film, you got to watch both Megaranger and Gingaman before you watch this very movie. But it is really good, and I highly recommend it. Now, my next couple episodes will deal with Go-Go 5. Next episode, I'm going to do a review of Go-Go 5, and the following episode, episode 5, I will do a review of Go-Go 5 versus Gingaman, and I will tell how much different it is from the Trigger's Revenge. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, which is going to be Go-Go 5. Okay? So until then, I will see you there. Bye.